What is going on, everybody? It's the Front. I'm waiting for AEW on TBS Review for August 17th, 2022. We are a few weeks away from All Out. And we got ourselves a show hosted by and sponsored by House of the Dragon with Ryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia 2 out of 3 falls match. The Trios tournament kicked off as La Facción Ingobernables took on the Young Bucks and their mystery opponent. Mystery partner, and we all knew who it was, but we'll get to that. CM Punk finally talks for the first time since making his return last week. What does he have to say? And what is going to happen with the World Heavyweight Championship match going into All Out and beyond. And a good bit more. So, we started the show off. CM Punk comes out and says he wants to put on this tough guy persona and be all tough and everything. But as soon as that happens, as soon as he walks out here, the fans just ruin all that and make him smile. He might not have the prettiest smile, but he wants to he has some things he needs to take care of, some things that do matter and some things that don't. Let's get rid of the stuff that doesn't. He says, Hangman Adam Page, you want that rematch right here, right now. I'll give it to you. Come out and get it. Sits down, waits. Crowd's like going, oh my God, we're going to get a title match right now. Oh my God, Hangman. And then they go and start booing. And Punk is like, you know what, that's what I thought. That ain't cowboy shit, that's coward shit. Now on to the pressing matter at hand. And says the apology needs to be as loud as the disrespect. He believes everyone wants to be the champion until it's time to do champ shit. He understands that Jon Moxley has a lot of fans. He says he can be number one in people's heart, but he isn't in the ring as he is the AEW champion. CM Punk says. Excuse me. Punk said he's lost big over the years, but Moxley has always been number two, as someone has had his number. He says the third best guy in his own group, which seems to be a recurring theme in his career, aka The Shield, which, let's just say, he was not the worst guy in The Shield. Punk says he's only had person that actually, Moxley talks about broken bones and snapping limbs and stuff, but the only person who actually broke any bone in the past 6 months was him. It might have been his, but that might have been his own, but still. And he asks the fans to tell him when he's telling lies. And he points out Moxley is the interim champion, which means temporary. He's willing to test himself against Moxley, who claims that he can't even test himself against his own best friend. His best friend is the third best Eddie he's ever shared a locker room with, and the second best Kingston he's ever shared a locker room with. Of course, Kofi Kingston, Eddie Guerrero, and I don't know who the other Eddie is, but either or. He plans to test the best at All Out against Moxley. He won't be the first John he has beaten in Chicago for a championship. And he's not a number one in that category either when Moxley's music finally hits. And he says, you know what? I got time for his entrance before he gets here, so I'm going to do some Snow Angels. So he starts doing Snow Angels in the ring. I guess that must mean something to some people. I don't fucking know. It must be something from his Ring of Honor days. Don't know. Moxley finally gets to the ring and he says, watch out, everyone. Punk is dropping pipe bombs. He's dropping pipe bombs that his body can't catch. He actually puts his leg out and starts wiggling around, noting Punk's leg injury from a couple months ago now. And those words he pretty much calls him out as like, you having that mic in your hand gives you power, but it don't mean that mic in your hand. Those words, they don't mean shit. Your championship don't mean shit. Hell, this championship I have don't mean shit. Not until I beat you. He claims to be the heart and soul of AEW and Punk says, fine, you can be that. I'll just be the dollars and cents. Moxley claims we all know the only reason you came back to professional wrestling because you ran out of money. Fucking great shit. Punk says he'll be soundly defeat Moxley at the pay-per-view, and he's worried Moxley would just bleed all over him if he touched him right now. But then then Moxley gets in his face, puts his hands behind his back, puts himself forward. Punk pushes him back, goes forward, and they start fucking throwing hands at each other. Security comes to break it out. Crowd is pissed off about this. They're going around all over the fucking ring, trying to get at each other with the security and others, keeping them away until eventually we end that and head to the back as they have finally broken up with Powerhouse Hobbs claiming he doesn't need friends. He don't need friends. Why would he need friends in this company? In professional wrestling, he's here for money, and that's about it. But he he mentioned how the reason he turned his back on Ricky Starks because Ricky Starks went out there after losing the FTW Championship and told the world that he's okay with losing when Hobbs is not okay with losing. He is here to win and to beat up people. He was hired to do one thing, and that was to make sure that Ricky Starks stayed champion, and he couldn't even get that done. So he says he'll take care of that, but also as for the fact that he has something for them too, and he walks off. So good reason to and it's a valid reason. You could tell when Ricky Starks sat there and said that it's not bad luck, it's bad timing. He was like accepting that yes, losing's okay. That's what he was doing at that time, is he was accepting that losing to him was okay. And Hobbs was not having any of that. So we go from that to the 2 out of 3 falls match. Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson. Oh my God, this match. If you want to see a good wrestling match, if you're wondering what Bryan Danielson would bring to a show in New Japan Pro Wrestling, if Bryan Danielson would have been available for the G1 Climax 32 this year, how he would fare, he showed you in this match tonight, because this match felt like I was watching a Japanese strong style match from start to fucking finish. These two battered each other from pillar to post. Hell, there was a time where Danielson has Garcia down, and he's scissored him, and he's like head in his first. He gets the hold of his head, and he's just raining in those fucking elbows through the back of his head. Holy shit. Like, Danielson was like, you want to try and retire me, motherfucker? I don't think so. So, they go for a while in the first fall, and then Daniel Garcia puts on his own version of a dragon, dragon sleeper, and makes him go night-night. So, that was the end of the first one. Which, the second one, like he's out, like Danielson's out, so we don't even get like a 30-minute rest break or anything. Garcia's telling the referee to count him out because, he just took him out. Which, I'm fine with that. Of course, Danielson gets back up 10. They beat the hell out of each other some more. Locks in the Dragon. Tries to go for the Dragon Sleeper again, but Danielson's able to move around, hammer some elbows in, eventually reverses it into a pinfall for the 1, 2, 3, and Garcia and Danielson are tied up. And then these two, the brawl between Jon Moxley and CM Punk ended, I believe, at 12 after. These guys got about 36 minutes of all 3 falls. This was when it felt like I was watching 2 guys battering themselves, trying to get the attention of Gato, get the attention of the New Japan Pro Wrestling bookers, and go, you want to see some Gaijins in the G1 Climax 33 next year? You got 2 right here. Because this one, they just started hitting and just battering the shit out of each other. Left, right, center. Garcia reverses him. Both throw hands until the bell lock is put in place by Danielson. No response this time around. Garcia passes out. Danielson wins 2-1. He picks up the win. After the match, he goes to show his respect. Garcia gets up. Looks like he's about to show his respect as well when Jericho attacks Danielson from behind, beats him up. Garcia gets over to Jericho, spins it around to stop him, and the crowd erupts, chanting Garcia. This got me flashbacks to when Wheeler Yuta went from being, and both guys bled in this match, so that's a rule of the Blackpool Combat Club. Unless your name is Claudio Castagnoli, you have to bleed with the Blackpool Combat Club to have yourself a, there you go. But Jericho has words for him. It's like, what the hell did you just do? And Garcia is just like going between the two, not knowing what to do. Crowd is chanting, you're a wrestler, you're a wrestler, you're a wrestler. Danielson's finally able to get conscious enough where he's like, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear them? Garcia leaves, and the crowd gets a little bit of a boo, but yeah, that was fantastic. Backstage, Swerve and Glory and Private Party are shown backstage. The challengers point out they're the 5th in the rankings. Whoop-de-fucking-do. The rankings are meaningless half the time. FTR is still the number 1 contenders to the World Tag Team Championships for like 7 months in a fucking row. And still haven't got a title match. I know they're saving it for later. I hope they're not trying to save it till Full Gear, because unless FTR is dropping the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships anytime soon, they're going to be in World Tag League, which kicks off probably in the beginning of November. Or towards the end of November, so we'll have to see. Tony Nese comes out, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's no match scheduled for Tony Nese. Well, there's no match because Jon Moxley attacks him from behind, takes him out, goes to the ring, calls out CM Punk, says, let's unify these titles right now, fuck all out, let's just do this right now. CM Punk appears, the security come back around again. They try to get some more into him. Claudio and Wheeler Yuta are able to get out here. And I also noticed on Danielson's for Danielson's entrance, no William Regal. No William Regal at all this week. Is he not in the BCC? What's going on with that? I don't know. But Castagnoli, you know, he's a big, strong man, so he's able to keep Jon Moxley and pull Jon Moxley away to keep them apart. It was announced before the main event that this match between CM Punk and Jon Moxley is happening next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, we will find out who is going to be the unified, the undisputed World AEW World Champion. Now this begs the question, what's happening for All Out? Who's going to be the man to challenge Punk or Moxley for All Out? 2 options. MJF makes his return at the end of the show, or because we got robbed of the match at Forbidden Door, Hiroshi Tanahashi will appear at the end of the show, make his challenge known, and at All Out we get that match between Tanahashi and CM Punk for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Those are the 2 options I have. Or we could go the safe route and go Hangman Adam Page gets a rematch, because that's what the AEW can do, because he technically is the number 1 contender on the rankings. The last time I saw them, it was Hangman Adam Page, so we'll have to wait and see. Backstage, Jericho tells Garcia he'll give him a pass for the night. He maybe got dropped on his head a few times. He got a little fuzzy, didn't know what he was doing. But next week, he wants to talk to him in the ring and make sure he needs to know which side he's on. Ricky Steamboat shows up, says Garcia is coming into his own, and he doesn't need Jericho, and he's the same guy that he was 15 years ago. And Steamboat believes Danielson is the better choice to mentor Garcia. Jericho and Matt Menard leave. Angelo Parker stays, but ends up getting chopped in the stomach by Ricky Steamboat, and that was the end of that. Varsity Blondes versus the Gun Club. This match lasted about 35, maybe 40 seconds. Colt 45, 1, 2, 3, and the Gun Club pick up the win. Billy Gunn gets to the ring and says, that's what I've been trying to get from you guys over the last few weeks. I'm really proud of you. I know I've been hard on you, but I'm really proud of you. They hug, and I'm like, the turn's coming. They telegraphed it so badly. Because if it wasn't a turn on, if the Gun Club wasn't turning on Billy Gunn, the hug would have happened. They would have cut to something else, and that would have been it. The fact that they hugged and they stayed on the hug, they eventually let it go. Stokely Hathaway shows up. He's got this smile. He just puts his arms out to the side, and Billy Gunn gets attacked from behind by his boys. They beat him up. Here come the Acclaimed, and they hit the ring. They make them saves, chasing them off. Bowens grabs the mic, looks back at Billy, and then puts the fingers up and says, "Scissor me, daddy ass!" So they do the little scissoring thing, and there you go. The Acclaim got their daddy boy back. That trial backstage with Pat calling out the United Empire, stating he begs to differ that Osprey is the best that Britain has ever produced, and he's looking forward to next week. He claims that they're an unstoppable unit. If they haven't heard how unstoppable they are, then they must have had their heads in a box, a.k.a. Kip Sabian. Now, Will Osprey won his match in the semifinals. He beat Tetsuya Naito in the G1 Climax 32. I will have a full breakdown review of the entire thing coming to you on Friday. I'm going to record it Friday morning and have it up Friday afternoon. During the post-match celebration of Will Osprey, Chris Charlton, on commentary, was listing off all of these things that Osprey has done, and then uttered the words, "He is the true All-Atlantic Champion." Ladies and gentlemen, if the All-Atlantic Championship did not exist, Chris Charlton would not have used All-Atlantic Champion to describe Will Osprey. They would have used something else. We are getting, more than likely, Will Osprey versus Pac for the All-Atlantic Championship. And I'm going to say this right now. Win or lose tomorrow, Will Osprey is your next All-Atlantic Champion, by hook or by crook. I see it happening. Will Osprey could take that title to New Japan Pro Wrestling. He could have the matches on Burning Spirits. He could have the matches on all these other cards and defend that All-Atlantic Championship on New Japan Pro Wrestling. And then you get those matches on Dark. Or if you or get an advertisement for New Japan World where you can see the All-Atlantic Championship. FTR have the IWGP World Tag Team Championships. It's only fair that New Japan Pro Wrestling gets a championship that AEW is sanctioned for themselves until we have a match at Wrestle Kingdom. You're wondering what's going to happen with the U.S. Championship. And I feel when we get David Finlay versus Will Ospreay for that championship, Will Ospreay will lose that, and then get the All-Atlantic Championship, and he will defend that title in New Japan and Rev Pro, and we'll have ourselves a second I'm not saying we're getting Will Ospreay versus Pac now. No. Pac versus Kip Sabian is happening first. They've already teased it. They're already pushing it. The head in the box is the Kip Sabian line. Kip Sabian has been at all of Pac shows, matches that we've seen on Dark. He's been all over the place with his head in the box, in the suit, and every show. So whenever they finally do something with Kip Sabian, it's going to be him versus Pac. Pac's not losing to Kip because you already have a money-made match. Could be at Full Gear for all I care. Will Ospreay, Pac, All-Atlantic Championship. Pac loses to Will Ospreay. And we have an All-Atlantic Champion going to Japan, going to Rev Pro, going to New Japan Strong, wherever they want to send Ospreay. Defending that championship. AEW gets the footage for those, for Dark or whatever. And you have yourself that going on. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But they don't have Chris Charlton sit there and say that Will Ospreay is the true All-Atlantic Champion if the AEW All-Atlantic Championship did not exist. I'm just saying. Jungle Boy comes to the ring. He says he had a certain T-shirt on a few weeks ago that had a certain phrase on it. Christian Cage is a pussy. He was told to never ever ever wear that shirt again. He read it as you would like a text or an email, whatever. And it got him in trouble, but he believes the shirt hit the nail on the head, and he tried to hit Christian Cage every chance he got with a chair, with a fist, with a car. Christian has done nothing about it, and he will either continue to push him until he gets his hands on him, or he can man up and face him at all out. He says that is unless the shirt was right. Christian Cage finally comes out and he says, you know what? No. We're not going to have this match, and it's not because of what you think. You know, I had to go back home and I had to reflect. I had to reflect on a few things, and maybe we said a couple things, maybe we did a couple things that we didn't mean. Everything became a little bit fuzzy after you lost the World Tag Team Championships. And says, how about instead of fighting you, we get this back together. We fix this. I take you to the top. Not Tag Team Championship, but the World Championship. You're my family. I love you. Come back home. Looks like Christian, like Jungle Boy looks to be looking into this, and then drops him down and starts pounding the shit out of him. Christian Cage can't get away from him, but eventually does, but gets Jungle Boy low, and then says, I hate you guts, you piece of shit. Goes to beat him up some more. Christian Cage, Jungle Boy gets the upper hand again. We get to the side of where the stairs are at, and Jungle Boy says, you were never my family, and just starts pounding this guy. He's never loved him, blah, blah, pounding him. And he steps on his arm, and then takes his head, and he's bashing it against the steps. And the guys, the referees, and the other people finally get Jungle Boy off of Christian Cage. Cannot wait to see what happens at All Out. And people say AEW does not do long-term storytelling, doesn't do storytelling. What have you been watching? This Christian Cage Jungle Boy storyline has been going on since Revolution or Double or Nothing last year. Come on, man. What the fuck? It was an interesting one. Tony Storm versus Kylan King. Before that, we see Wardlow and FTR shown backstage. Cash Wheel saying Wardlow didn't ask for their help, but they weren't going to sit back and watch as nobody messes with the Pinnacle. Wardlow claims it doesn't matter how big they are, and everyone gets powerbombed. As Dax challenges Jay Lethal to a match next week. Sanjay Dutt challenged Dax, the Pinnacle. They are the Pinnacle. They are the good side of the Pinnacle. They even said they're the Pinnacle. Which, after they lose all their titles and stuff, this group right here could be a force in the Trios division. Just saying. But earlier on in the show, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh challenged these guys to a match at the pay-per-view in a Trios match. And I'm like, and people were complaining, oh, FTR deserves better than this. FTR are the IWGP, AAA, and Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. They got commitments other places. They got appearances they got to make for other companies. They can't be tied down to anything right now. I'm thinking maybe Full Gear, but that depends on when Full Gear is, because World Tag League comes up in November, if I'm correct. I did look through the last few years, and I'm pretty sure every World Tag League is in November and December. So, unless FTR is dropping the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles and the AAA Tag Team titles, which I think they should, but whatever. What might, if the Young Bucks don't win the Trios titles with their tag team partner tonight, I see the Bucks somehow getting the tag team titles, become 3-time champions. Then we go to Full Gear. We get that winner take all match, and everybody wanted to see it all out between the Bucks and FTR, and boom, you get your match. FTR could win and become the greatest tag team with all 4 belts. I don't see them losing the ROH titles anytime soon. I don't see them losing the IWGP World Tag Team titles until Wrestle Kingdom, and I don't know what's going on with the AAA belts. Maybe they lose them in October at Triple Mania, but I don't know. We had Kylan King versus Toni Storm. This is Kylan King's first match, I think, on television in a very long while. She looks amazing. She looks great. Sana Asaf did say after the show that she did tell AEW last year whenever they tried to sign her, that she wanted to go into other promotions and other ventures and other opportunities, and here she is back. Did not see a graphic for her being all elite, but it'd be great if she was. Now, you need to look at 2 things that has nothing to do with the match. The match was good. This was probably one of the best women matches we've seen on TV in a fucking long while, but they show Thunder Rosa backstage. At the beginning of this match, Thunder Rosa is smiling, she's clapping, she's excited for a friend. After the match ends, Toni Storm picks up the win. That hit, they called it the sweet cheek music, her hip attack. Oh my god. Hits her with another move, pins her 1, 2, 3. They go back to Thunder Rosa, the smile is gone, and she's golf clapping. Like she's fed up with this woman. The heel turn's coming. It was announced after this match that we are going to be getting Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa at All Out. So, it was also, again, like I said, announced Jon Moxley versus CM Punk next week, as well as the United Empire versus Death Triangle. Now, I'll get into who I think's winning that match here in a minute. We have La Facción Ingobernables versus the Young Bucks and a mystery opponent. Now, LFI comes out, and then the Bucks come out, and Justin Rollins like, their opponents? Like, he's questioning, where's the third guy? Is it Cutler? Now, the Bucks get into the ring. Cutler pulls unzips his his jacket a little bit, pulls out a piece of paper, hands it to Justin Roberts. Roberts opens it and gives us that list of accolades, adding the New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff in as well, to the accomplishments for Kenny Omega. Out comes Kenny Omega in a compression shirt and a fucking brace on his left shoulder. Don Callis with him, Michael Nakazawa's with him. Don Callis goes to commentary, where I think he should be. Once him and Omega split, I would love to see the Rampage team become Don Callis and whoever the fuck else, I don't care. But Don Callis should be doing commentary for AEW. That is his strength. Once Kenny Omega and him do a split, it's going to happen. So, they come in. Dragon Lee starts the match. He wants to shake hands with everybody. Matt, what was it? Let's see here. Nick starts off with Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee shakes hands with Kenny Omega. Matt doesn't want to. He does with Nick as well. And the Evolution on Dragon like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? So, we have the match here. Fucking great match. Now, I will say Kenny Omega looked so off-center most of the time, but when he got into his groove, it was Kenny Omega from last year. It was the cleaner, the former world champion, the best bout machine. But there were times, like, he tried to do his roll over, what is that called? His combo where he does the smooth salt off the top, off the middle rope. And he did the first part, and he just fucking flipped over and couldn't get up. So, definitely not where he needs to be yet for a big, for the big fights coming up. Big Super Kick Party, LFI looked amazing. The Bucks looked great. Back to the ring, Hangman hits Andrade hits a standing moonsault and he plants him with a hammerlock DDT. Roosh tries to block Matt, but he throws him back in. Omega hits Lee with a V-trigger, a big knee V-trigger, looks for the 1 Million Angel, which looks very bad. Connects, 1, 2, 3, the Bucks and Omega win. Now, post-match. Andrade, Roosh is trying to pick up his brother, but he's undoing the mask. He's like taking the ties and loosening them, picks him up, raises his arm, and then throws him into Andrade. Andrade hits the hammerlock DDT. The mask falls off, which I don't think we really got to see. Show goes off the air, with the Bucks looking to go save Dragon Lee. So, the Trios tournament moves on to Friday, where the Trustbusters will take on the Best Friends. But Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks move on. Now, next week it's Pac, the Death Triangle versus the Aussie versus the United Empire. I have a feeling that LFI is not going to take this loss lightly, and they're going to look over and see that their adversaries, the Lucha Bros, are in this match, and they don't want to see them win the Trios titles, so they're going to screw and cost the Trios, the Death Triangle, out of the Trios tournament, and we're going to get some kind of match between. I thought Dragon Lee would still be a part of this, but I guess not. It was a one-off. But we're going to get Death Triangle. We're going to get the Lucha Bros versus LFI. If the LFI still lost, if Ingo Benable somehow find a third partner, maybe we can get a trios match with those guys. If not, maybe we get Pac versus Will Osprey. I don't know. But I fully expect the United Empire versus the Elite next in the semifinals 2 weeks from tonight. But Moxley versus CM Punk, I have two thoughts. It's either going to be MJF or Hiroshi Tanahashi. That's my thoughts. Who else is going to be? It could be Hangman if that's when they want to go safely. But if the Dark Order is going towards if Dark Order somehow makes it to the finals, so we can have the Elite versus the Dark Order with Hangman in their corner, to have that whole mind game thing going on. I just, I don't know who else you would go for with CM Punk. I mean, yes, Hangman was the last time I saw the rankings, the number one contender, but we've seen how the number one contender doesn't seem to mean shit. That is your AEW on TBS review. Very, very good show tonight. There was no down matches tonight, in my opinion. I think everything hit well. And that promo for Moxley, great. The Danielson Garcia is an all-time classic. That should be a 5.5 star from Dave Meltzer. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Follow me on my The France Club, follow me on twitch.tv/TheFrance Club, and follow me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys on Friday for SmackDown and Rampage. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.